Hi, welcome to this video. In this video I'm going to show you how to compile libSBML. I spent most of this afternoon trying to do this and finally succeeded tonight, so I thought I'd make a video to show you how I happen to compile libSBML. So this is going to be on Windows. I happen to have Windows 7 at home, but it should work on Windows 10 as well. So the first thing I'm going to do is create a directory, an empty directory, okay, which I call compile libSBML. You can call it whatever you like, but this is the directory in which all the work will happen, okay? So let me unzoom out there. So that's an empty directory. The next thing I'm going to do is to download the source code for libSBML, and the way to do that is just search for libSBML in Google. The first entry will be libSBML, and you'll probably see a download link. Select the download link. This will take you to the download page. You'll see a contents page here. Pick number 3, the C++. This takes you then to the C++ section. Let me zoom in here for a second. What you see here then is the SourceForge download site, and this is what you need to select to download the source code. So let me click on that. This takes you to the SourceForge site. You'll see stable and experimental. Pick the stable one. Inside the stable one, you'll see a whole bunch of directories. Ignore those. Instead, focus on the files themselves, the libSBML files themselves. What you're after is this one here, libSBML 517 core source. Now, 517 is currently the latest distribution for libSBML. It was released in June 2018. Anyway, so download this one, 517 core source. So let me select that. So I'll give it a few seconds. It's about 20 megabytes. Should take long. Here it comes. Now, once it's downloaded, it's going to do a virus check first, which is what it's doing now. Once it's done that, on my machine anyway, it'll now automatically open up WinZip. Okay, there it is, WinZip. And that's the contents of the zip file. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy that source code directly into the compiled libSBML directory I had previously made. So this is quite a big distribution, so it'll take a little bit. There's a lot of files. Here we go. Okay, so that's that done. I'll close the WinZip file. Okay, and there you can see the libSBML 517 directory. Okay, so let me move that to one side. The next thing to download are what are called the dependencies. So libSBML relies on a number of dependencies, and the libSBML team have provided these dependencies ready built for Windows. So that's what I'm going to do here. So I'll type libSBML dependencies, okay, if you can see that. In my search, it's the third one down. That's the one I want. That's libSBML building and installing libSBML. So I'm going to select that. So this takes you to a fairly extensive set of instructions, but we'll go quickly to what we want. We want the dependency section. That's in section 2.1. Okay, configuring using CMake. So let me select that. And what you want is this link. Okay, SourceForge Win dependencies. Okay. So let me select that. This will take you to another SourceForge site. Now here you have to make some decisions. So there are various flavors here. First, which edition of Visual Studio are you using? For example, 2013, 2015, 2017. Do you want the debug or release versions of the dependencies? And finally, do you want to build 64-bit or 32-bit versions of libSBML? Now what I want to do is I want to download the 32-bit versions. The 32-bit versions are the one with x86. So let me zoom in here so you can see this more clearly. So the x64, those are the 64-bit ones. The x86, those are the 32-bit ones. And here you see also the release ones and the debug ones. So there's all combinations here. And finally, this is the Visual Studio version. Okay. Now, you need to scroll down for this because I'm going to be using Visual Studio 2013. That's the one I had most success with. So let me scroll down. Now Visual Studio 2013 happens to be Visual Studio 12 on this list. That's just Microsoft's numbering. Notice that when you start at 15, you scroll down, it seems to end at 14 and starts on 9, but keep on scrolling and you'll get to the 12 series. Now in the 12 series, I want the release. So let me scroll here, zoom in so you can see. I want Visual Studio 2013, the release binaries, and the 32-bit version. Okay, so that's what I'm going to download. So let me zoom out. Let me click that. That'll now start to download the dependencies. So this is slightly smaller at 15 megabytes. Here it is. Now it's doing a virus check and it's opening up WinZip. Okay, there it is, and there's WinZip. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to bring over my working directory, which contains the source code for libSBML. I'm going to go into that directory, and I'm going to copy this dependency folder into that directory. Let me close the WinZip file. Okay, so we've just copied the dependency folder in. Now the first thing you need to do is to change the name of this. Change the name to a simple dependencies with a lowercase d. Okay. Alright, I found this to be important, so I would do the same. Change the name to just dependencies. Okay. Now inside dependencies, all you see will be a bin, include, and lib. The lib directory includes the library dependencies, and of course the include includes the header files for those dependencies. Okay, now the next thing we need to do is to create two more folders called build and install. The build one is very important, and many people will use the capital letters to name their build folder. And again, create these folders inside the libSBML 517 folder. And the other one is install. We won't be using that now, but it's good practice just to have it anyway. The install folder. Okay. The next thing to do is to start up CMake. Now, CMake is the tool that we will use to create the Visual Studio solution files. If you haven't got a copy of it, just type CMake in Google, and it'll come up as the first entry. Select download. It'll take you to the download page. On Windows, it doesn't matter whether you pick the 64-bit version or the 32-bit version, it doesn't matter. Just pick one of them and install it. So I've already got it installed, so I'm just going to start it up here now. So here it goes. So I'm using the GUI version. There's also a command line version, but the GUI one is pretty easy to use. There are a couple of entries we need to fill in here. So the first one is, where is the source code? Okay, so if you can't see that, let me show it to you more clearly. So the first entry is, where is the source code? And the second one is, where to build the binaries. Okay, so we need to fill those two in. That's quite straightforward. Where to build the source code, or where is the source code? It's in libSBML 517. So let me make a copy of that and paste it into there. I'll zoom in a minute so you can see what these look like. The second one is where to build the binaries, and that's where this build folder comes in. So let me just copy that directory and copy it in. Okay, so I've got that. So let me just zoom in to show you. Okay, so what I've done is, where the source code is, it's actually my libSBML 517 directory, and where to build the binaries, that's going to be the build directory inside the lib 517 folder. Okay. Alright, so the next thing then is we can actually run the make program. This is done with these two buttons here, configure and generate. The first one to do is to click configure. Now this will come up with a dialog box that lets you pick the compiler. So if you drop down the box, you see a whole bunch of compilers here. These are all the Visual Studio compilers. There are also other ones as well, other compilers too, but we won't touch those. What you want is the Visual Studio 12 2013. That's the will compile 32-bit version. Don't pick the ARM one and don't pick the Win32. So let's pick Visual Studio 12 2013 and then hit OK. It'll now go into its configuration mode, start checking the compiler, making sure it's compliant. Okay, so that's almost done. Now you can see here it's in red, indicating that we haven't confirmed yet whether this is what we want to use or not. But just to point out, all these include directories here, the libBZ include directory, the libBZ library, iconv library, and so on, so on, so on. They've been filled in for us, and this is one reason why I said you should change the dependency directories to just dependencies. If you do that, all this will be automatically filled in for you, which is quite nice. And in fact, as it stands, it's actually quite ready to work as is. Yeah, I mean, that's the default is pretty much all you need. So all you have to do now is press configure again, just to confirm this is what you want. It's now gone from red to white. And the final thing to do is to generate, and this will generate the actual solution files. Okay, and it's done. Now the easy thing to do here is just to open the project, and this will start up your Visual Studio 12 2013 application. So let me show what we've got here. So what we've got here is it's actually pretty much done everything here. These are all the possible build types we can do. We'll do an all build in a second. One thing I want to do is to check on some of the properties just to make sure everything's okay. The first thing is to go to the C++ entry under general, and you'll see the include directories here. So let's just pick that. Just have a quick look. So these are the build directories that have been selected. Notice it includes the SBML directories here and here, but in particular it's included the dependencies include directories, and that's rather important. The other thing to check is the linker. So the linker requires the names of the lib files that will be used. And here again, it's automatically put in the appropriate paths and so on. One thing, just to bear in mind, one thing that it might not have done is to install this one, the ws2_32 lib. Let me zoom in so you can see that. If it hasn't done that, you need to put that in manually. That's quite easy to do. Just hit enter on this page and it'll let you put in an extra entry. So let's try and compile this to see if it compiles. So let me just go OK, and then we'll do a build all, rebuild. Okay. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to pause the video at this point because it takes a little while to do the full compilation. I'll be back in a few minutes. Okay, we're back and it completed. Now I just realized, and I'm not going to make the video again, but I compiled it in debug mode. For my purpose, I want it in release mode. So if you want it in release mode, make sure you select release, and then you can do a build all again. So let me just do that now for a second. I'll be back again in another few minutes. Okay, we're back again. That took about, probably 2 minutes or so. But here it is. What you're looking for is 0 failed. That's what you're looking for. So let me just zoom in to make sure you can see that. What you're after is the magical 0 failed. And that's it. Now, question is, where is everything? Where are all the files? Well, let's go back to our original folder. Let me find that. I think that's underneath here. Here it is. So this is our original folder, compile libSBML. This is the libSBML 517 folder. In there, remember, we created build. So the binaries were copied to build. So let's double click on build. The files you want actually are in source, and they'll be in debug or release. Now we have to do both of them, so you'll have the builds will be in both release and debug. So let's have a look at release, and there they are. So you have the libSBML static library, which basically includes everything, and you also have the DLL if you want to use the DLL instead. And of course, we also have the libSBML lib2. If you're using the DLL or the libSBML, you'll also have to distribute some of the dependencies as well. But with the with the libSBML static lib, you don't have to, and you can tell it's much bigger and pretty much includes everything. Okay, so that's the end of that. I'll probably do another video which shows you how you can actually use these now to write a simple C program that, say, loads an SBML file and prints some statistics out. Okay, thanks very much.